It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. Right now, I've got your words every day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern, that's 4 Pacific, for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. We're simulcasting it over at gunchannels.com. We're watching the comments coming in from everybody watching us live over on Gun Channels and YouTube. Every once in a while, we'll take the audio from the shows and post it on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage anybody that might be listening to the show in the future or watching it later on to give us some feedback on whatever platform you're watching or listening. Lets us know where you are. We're trying to get the word out there to more people, so hopefully that'll help get the show recommended to more people, and we do appreciate that favor. There's 4 hosts, 2 of us are here today, and then we have a special guest. So Bob is having internet problems because he lives in Canada, and they have all kinds of problems. Smeggy is AWOL, so he's doing something. Otherwise, we got Daniel jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Yep, glad to be here.
Here he is. I'm down here in Arizona, and then we got Cycle Camp jumping in from Connecticut.
Yeah, that's right. Happy, friendly, communist state of Connecticut.
Right on. So thanks for jumping in. We had I turned the thing on about an hour early today, and I was doing some organization, setting up the shows over on YouTube. Whenever I do that, I just screen share onto one of my monitors and then open it. I send the link out over to Patreon. So anybody that might be supporting the show over on Patreon would have gotten an alert to let them know that the thing is live, and if they're welcome to jump in. So Cycle was in there BSing a little bit before the show, and since Bob's gone and Smeggy's absent, we having him sit in as a special guest. So thanks for jumping in.
You're quite welcome.
All right, so today is episode 338. Since Bob ain't here, we can kick that stupid Chinese Canadian gun to the curb and concentrate on the 338 Lapua, which would be more customary. But it's Wednesday as well, so that means we'll be talking about entertainment. We have top 10 gun channels to talk about. We have a good idea, bad idea, where we'll talk about Antifa arming up, and we'll probably move the hashtag Daily Gun Show showdown to someday when Smeggy's here, since that's what we typically do. So maybe we'll have a little extra time today. Maybe we won't. Otherwise, we talk about a gun movie every day, and a gun shop of the day, and a gun of the day, and all that. And I guess we'll be digging into all of that and more. But before we do, we usually take a break before the show, see if anything happened overnight, anything worth talking about.
Yeah, I was working last night, so I didn't have much of anything.
So when you're working, you don't have like the radio going to hear what the news or anything like that?
Well, actually, I listen to podcasts and Audible books.
Oh, okay. I know something was going on. I've had my attention diverted too with some meetings, and I'm trying to do stuff in the mornings, and the city's making me get rid of my van, so I'm trying to do all kinds of stuff to appease them so I don't have to do that. And so I've been eating up a lot of my mornings with stupid stuff, but I thought I heard something about the SHARE Act getting brought back up. The Hearing Protection Act had been added to the SHARE, and then it had all been put on hold because of the situation with that baseball game and the murderer. And then I thought I heard that it had been shouldered or whatever, paused, and now that it had come back. And I'm curious to see what the status is on that, if anybody knows. All right, so I guess we'll dig into, if there's nothing else that happened overnight. Our first topic today is entertainment, and we usually get our segment topics. Well, the segments we've got figured out, but then the topics for each segment come from our scheduling sessions we'll do on the second Saturday of the month with our Patreon supporters. So that's what I'm assuming where this one came from. Top 10 gun channels. And I'm assuming that means on YouTube. I think that's what you guys are going to use. How are you guys going to come up with top 10?
Yeah, I'm going to select 10. I don't know if it'll be my top 10, because I'd probably subscribe to just under 100 YouTube channels. I don't necessarily watch all their videos, but I subscribe to them. So are we looking at this as gun channels that are entertaining, gun channels that are informative, gun channels?
Well, I would say that's up to you guys, because I'm sure I have a different level of interest in gun channels than the next guy. So whatever we feel is important, right?
Right, because my list encompasses a number of different things. As an example, CNR Arsenal is one of mine that I would suggest be on the top 10. They do primarily guns that are from in the 1800s and very early 1900s. Do very detailed. When I say nerd, I mean to that nerd level of the intricacies of how it works and what makes it, if it had an issue, what was the issue in detail, that sort of a thing. What made it good, what made it bad, and if it had a bad side. And I just love it for the amount of extreme detail that it gives. Now, if you're not the kind of person that loves extreme detail, you're not going to like CNR Arsenal.
And we'll see if people out there that'll listen are going to throw up some of their suggestions. Right now, we're not getting any feedback, but that's the whole point of our show, and the point of the new media is to be able to participate in what you're listening to. So feel free to throw your ideas out there. So you're just going to list off 10 then, Dano, or?
Well, I thought we'd kind of see if we get any input, and I'll adjust my settings here.
Right on.
Yeah, while you're waiting for people to chime in on the chat, I actually have like 4 or 5 different styles or paradigms of ones I listen to. Like I listen to some because they're short and fast and usually pretty funny. So like that's one of the reasons I have Yankee Marshall on my list, because he does a lot of 5 or 10 minute guys and they're a lot of fun. And then there's other ones that I listen to because I'm looking for information. So I actually listen to the Gun Collective, especially their legal brief, because they do a great job of explaining gun law and how things work and all that kind of stuff. Then the third kind of category I listen to are guys that shoot a lot. So I like Iraq Veteran 8888 and Hickok 45. And then lastly is the guys from gun channels. There's a few guys from gun channels that I have on my regular list, like this show, for instance, and Night Strike and Never Enough Ammo and that kind of thing. So when I miss a day, I don't have to go hunting for them. I just, they just come up in my subscriptions list.
Right.
And then I have the gun cleaning ones, the ones that just go on and on and on and on. So it's best like when you're doing something in the background or cleaning a gun or something. And a lot of times I'll do Hickok 45 and Son for that, because he does a podcast that usually runs over an hour. 88 a lot of time does stuff that's over an hour. So that's a great stuff to have on in the background while you're doing other things.
That's a good point. I like your guys' idea of just jumping into your favorites. So I'm going to go over to gun websites, and these are the channels that I feature over on the side. So normally you got that list of featured. I just clicked on more of them, so I'm clicking on all of them now. So these are just friends of the channel, people I've known in real life, and then some channels that I've just liked over the years, I guess. I'm going to say one of my favorites of all times is Analytical Survival. He's a Green Beret, and he does really good, quick, 10 minutes usually or less, sit reps on the different aspects of survival and stuff. Very well made stuff. This guy's a lawyer, and I'm sure that when you're talking about is more current because he hasn't done stuff in a while, but that was the same thing a couple years ago for him. Got Edge in there and Pink, because they're doing the gun channel stuff like you're talking about, and then just a couple of guys that I've met over the years. And but the thing is, I don't really watch YouTube so much, so I usually depend on what's going on the main feed over on gun channels, or somebody links something. That's usually what I'm watching. I don't go to a subscription list so much anymore.
A couple from over on the YouTube side is we've got Patrick mentioning Forgotten Weapons, Scooch, as well as Mac and Hickok 45.
Yeah, Forgotten Weapons is cool. They have some really cool stuff on that show. They have the oddest guns I've ever seen on that show. I know Paul Harrell's name comes up on the chat a lot of times when people are having fun, but I actually subscribe to him as well. Because he just seems to be a very laid back, simplistic. It's too bad TN Outdoors 9 is really not doing anything anymore, because I really enjoyed him. And I love the gelatin tests and all that stuff.
Well, what's nice is a channel like that where the video still exists. So even though they're not currently creating content, like a lot of these channels, you can go watch their historic stuff. One of them I have in here is the guy that did the kitchen table build for AK-47 stuff using the Toth tools. And it doesn't matter if you didn't make them today or anything, you still get access to them. Like, see, so they're some of these things are real resources. Go in and check out, series and stuff that they've done in the past, and podcasts and stuff that they've done in the past. A lot of it's still relevant. It's just tech info.
Yeah, I used to watch Fate of Destiny shooting that 500 mag too. You don't see her around much anymore.
A channel that I periodically watch, but I don't necessarily watch it all the time, is Active Self-Protection, which is where they'll take closed caption footing of an actual crime that it committed and kind of take it in slow motion as far as things that were done well, things that they could have improved upon, and mistakes that were made during the scene, just to make it an educational, take some of the educational value out of it rather than have it just be a crime and evidence. There actually is something to learn from it. So Active Self-Protection is another one of the channels I occasionally like to take a look at.
All right, well, we're not getting anything on the gun channel side, so getting some more over there on the YouTube side. Stan suggested Lindy Beige, I guess. Has some great stuff. Huh?
I've never heard of that guy.
Says some great stuff related to tools of war, great old guns, tanks, etc. ASP situational review. I'm not familiar with that one either.
That's the one you were just talking about, the Active Self-Protection. He was just making a comment that it's a situational overview.
Oh, okay. Tony's mentioning some. Chesney and about Fate of Destiny. I don't know if Yankee knows something.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say top 10 gun reviews is like Tal Flatermouse. I don't really consider him a gun channel. I know he has done some gun things in the past, but that's really not his main focus.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I don't watch stuff like oh God, the Demolition Ranch and stuff like that. I hate seeing people beat up old guns and just blowing stuff up for no particularly good reason, unless they're really good looking.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of those channels, or at least channels that have done some of that stuff.
Yeah, Too Hottie mentioned on the gun channel side mentioned Nut and Fancy, and he's pretty good. I like him. I don't subscribe to him, but he'll come up in my recommended every once in a while.
Yeah, Tony, Tony mentions he has like 200 videos shooting stuff out of shotguns, and you're right, 200 videos of what, at least in my opinion, is basically doing the exact same thing 200 times. But that's just my opinion. Mr. Guns and Gear, definitely a good channel there, Tony. I agree with you on that.
All right, so we're all mentioning some of the bigger ones for sure, and yeah.
I also subscribe to my rights channels like Connecticut Citizens Defense League and Gun Owners of America. So I have those guys on my subscription list too when they come out with stuff.
That's a good point. I definitely like to see the gun owners advocacy groups be able to put out more consistent info or more consistent content. The NRA does a pretty good job of getting stuff out there that reaches a lot of different audiences, and those groups sporadically put stuff out there. It'd be nice to see them putting it out there more uniformly.
Another one that's out there that I occasionally watch is Twang and Bang. Like that. Also, two channels that one's kind of started originally. That was TN Outdoors 9, who's no longer doing videos, but I certainly enjoyed the information and the scientific aspect that he tried to put into his videos that he did. And somebody that's kind of been there since he's kind of started to transition out was Shooting the Bull 410, doing very similar things as TN Outdoors did in the past. Also trying to take a little bit more of a scientific approach as to ammunition and how they work or sometimes don't work.
It was definitely neat when Tommy was doing TN Outdoors 9 channel because it was consistent, very consistent. So you got a real comparison, a valid comparison, and it wasn't influenced at all. He wasn't, being influenced by any one brand or anything like that, or even a supplier. So I thought that was pretty cool. Definitely a kind of a situation that no one could have expected seeing, and definitely wasn't necessarily, well, I mean, I'm sure he did okay with it, but it wasn't something that was necessarily profitable where you saw a bunch of people attempting to do it. It just sort of happened organically. One of the things I really like about the nature of this new media is that there's opportunities like that for somebody to, I don't know if he really foresaw ahead of time what he ended up doing, but obviously in the middle of it, he figured out what was going on and saw, what he could do with it. And he did a really good job of getting there. Obviously he had some issues that, interfered with the overall plan, but man, just very well executed, and it created a resource that's, almost not duplicatable, or at least with a lot of effort it would take to duplicate it.
Yeah, a lot of the guys on the gun channel side are talking about nothing fancy, and basically I think we all agree that sometimes he's a little weird. He's pretty fun to watch, but I don't have him on my regular subscription. But if there's a lot of times, if there's like a particular ammo or gun I want to know about, he's one of the guys I'll go to on YouTube and say, hey, has he got a video about this gun?
We're all weird. So I like about it is it's real consistent again and thorough. So again, everybody can say whatever they want, but the reason he's got as many views as he's got is because everyone will go use it as a point of reference, especially if they've got a real, situation where they're debating between carrying this or, buying this, everything from camping to guns, right? So knives and different stuff. So he's created something that, with his consistency and his quantity of info, again, that's something that wouldn't be, not too many people could accomplish.
That's a good resource.
All right, well, I don't want to keep going for too long because obviously there's a lot of channels on YouTube. We could probably keep going forever. So let's call it a draw there, and anybody that wants to can submit a top 10 list. We can always add it to the description of the video here. Or again, the reason we do our topics the way we do is to give you a kernel or a seed, and you can take it and grow it in your own podcast or your blog or as a YouTube video or whatever it is you like to do to create content. Take some of these ideas and run with them. Actually, it's very lucrative to talk about the other gun channels. Most videos that you post about the other gun channels will be watched and commented on. So it might be an interesting way to get some more people to your channel and have some fun with it. So I guess with that, we can move on to the next segment, which will be good idea, bad idea. We'll talk about Antifa arming up. But before we do, we usually take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day, where we feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a community we built. It's a lot of fun, lots of members over there. Everybody does different things, and we'll try to shed light on some of the stuff that happens over there by featuring the members each day. This week, I just picked a bunch of people that were over in Gun Channels chatting in the lobby while I was setting up the shows earlier. And today it's Rafael. So one of the members from Florida participates in the conversations quite a bit. But more than that, he's met up with some of you guys in Tulsa. I think Dano's actually met him in real life,
Yep.
and it's pretty cool what Gun Channel's turned into. Obviously, we built it as a way to do some chats and be able to add links and just communicate better on YouTube videos, but it's grown to so much more, and that's with the influence and the input from members like Rafael. So thanks very much for participating the way you do and contributing so much that you do.
Yeah, I met him when I went out to Tulsa, and as well as I got a chance to meet his dad. Very, very interesting guy, and what was also kind of cool was to see him more from somebody who was interested in firearms but didn't necessarily have anything, to watch him take those first couple of steps all on his own, and take in all the information and then make his own decisions. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I'm taking us along the ride with, not like literally along the ride with him and his dad, driving out from Florida to Tulsa to meet up with you guys and the rest of their like road trip. But then his dad's like not being all that interested to being somewhat interested to go into the museum and now kind of interested in firearms, right? So I mean, it's kind of neat that he was able to share that with everybody, and we all get to, I guess, add that to our toolbox, right? So if it comes up in a conversation somewhere, we all have that to reference. I mean, it's really cool that so somebody from Florida, somebody from Illinois can meet up in Tulsa because of the chats that we do here.
Yep.
Anyway,
Another
that's why we
good
keep
addition to
that.
gun channels.
Yep. So I guess now we can fight about something. So good idea, bad idea. Back when Bob and I first started doing the show on a daily basis, one of the things we thought would be cool to put in here was something we disagreed about. And it's easy for me and Bob to disagree on stuff because we disagree on all kinds of stuff. Might be a little bit tougher as we've gone along. Today, the subject came up, Antifa arming up. So as what we usually do is we go left to right, and you don't get to explain it at all, just good idea, bad idea. So it'll be kind of quick today. So cycle, good idea, bad idea, Antifa arming up.
You betcha, do it.
Good idea. Okay, Dano?
I couldn't think of a possibly worse idea.
And I'm also good idea. All right, so we got some discussion then. So anybody that's out there watching, again, this is new media, so go ahead. Good idea, bad idea. Let us know what you think, and we can all hash it out. So now we can extrapolate on that or explain our positions. Just jump in.
Hey, more people with guns, and hopefully, I mean, with permits and all that kind of stuff. But more gun ownership, better. To be more people on the other side that are more sympathetic to owning guns, how hard it is to get them. And hopefully they'll take training and stuff like that and realize that the guys, other folks that are in the pro gun camp are not, are not as evil as they thought they were.
I agree. I'll add that we all live in the same environment, so they're all going to have the same respect and the same interest in not going to jail for being foolish. So if anything, it'll make them responsible, just like it does with any other gun owner. As soon as you put that thing on your hip or strap that thing over your shoulder, that's a whole bunch of responsibility that comes with it. And I got nothing. I'm not afraid of anybody. So and not that I'm bravado, I just have nothing to fear. I don't think that having a firearm in your hand means you're violent. So yeah, I'm all about it. If they want to have peaceful protests with their firearms like that sample in Phoenix, more power to them, like you said, for all those benefits. More gun.
I would much rather see them standing around with guns than what we got in a lot of the college campuses and stuff, where they were masked, and they were using, bear mace on people and all that. Guys that are walking around with guns, they're not going to get away with that. The cops aren't going to let them be masked. The cops aren't going to let them pull that kind of stuff, and they're going to have to be like regular gun owners, and they're they're going to have to adhere to a higher standard of good behavior.
So where's your position on it?
Let's not confuse the John Brown Gun Club with the Antifa.
I'm not confusing anybody with anybody. I'm just saying a guy that is walking a gun, carrying around with a gun is held to a higher standard.
To do violence for their cause. Which again, we only have one instance there's only one instance that I'm aware of as far as the John Brown gun club, and yes, they had guns out, but were not violent. That's why I'm saying they may be similar, but they are not the same thing. And so when you have the antifas that have shown that they are willing to be violent for their cause, I see that as no different than someone who has committed a criminal act using violence for their cause, thus giving up their right for a firearm.
Yeah, I'll draw a line between criminals and protesters.
Well, again, you're painting the Antifa movement all with the same paintbrush, which is the thing us gun owners hate. We hate when everybody paints us with the same paintbrush. In fact, one of my other, I was making some notes. One of my other things is, hey, let's let folks look at these lefty guys and say, hey, look, here's a set of gun nuts, and they're not right-wing radicals.
Yep.
It's not just the right-wingers that are that feel the need to have weapons and stuff.
Advocating? What is their group advocating as a tool of justice for them?
Yeah, but I can't, until they actually do it, that's the whole point. They have these rights, and until they give the rights up by doing bad stuff.
I mean, the most famous example is the professor in Berkeley with the bike lock. That's just one example, but it's not the only example.
Sure, but how did he get away with that? He got away with that because I don't recall if he was masked as well, but I thought he was. And same deal. If he'd have been carrying a gun around, they would never have let him get away with that stuff.
Right. That would have been felony assault. If it wasn't already felony assault.
Yeah.
But back to what Cycle's saying, painting everybody with one brush. So now if you're probably going to do something bad, if you had a gun, how's that any different than fill in the blank? Hey.
I guess I'm only addressing the people that are actually there to do violence. If you're not there, then you're obviously not part of that group.
I don't know what you mean, but okay, you're saying that the Antifa specifically only does violence?
They advocate violence to accomplish their cause.
Well, I guess I'm coming at it unarmed because I have no clue what Antifa is. I just look at it as a bunch of people that are citizens of the country, and they may not agree with me, but they have a right, like everybody does, do all kinds of things, and I don't mind them exercising those rights lawfully. So obviously I'm not going to condone any kind of law breaking or felonious, right, felons carrying guns illegally. But if we're just talking about people who want to have a presence and want to do something, then by carrying a firearm, again, I only see that as the beginning of a path towards responsible firearms ownership, because like we're all saying that that takes it to a level. When you show up with firearms, it takes it to a level of heightened police awareness and less less latitude or whatever, less room for interpretation. So that's going to make everybody mind their P's and Q's, the whole armed society's a polite society thing. So until they become criminals, then I'm not going to...
Well, they've already shown themselves to be criminals. It's just they haven't used a gun yet.
Well, see, that's where...
all of them, just based, individuals.
Where are you going to draw the line on that? I mean, there's a bunch of XYZ people show up as, unified, armed, standing in unity. Some of those people are felons, some of those people have created traffic crimes. And if you go over 100 miles an hour in some states, that's a felony. So some of them are felons, and or have been in the past. And maybe they got some lawyer trick to get their gun rights back after being a felon. But are you going to tell me that felon, it doesn't plan? I just don't see this unless you're in the act of a crime. You're just exercising your rights.
But as far as drawing the line, I do think just for clarification's sake, I would need to draw it on a case by case or person by person basis, because you're right, you can't judge a whole group because of the actions of a few, and I agree with that. Which is why we would need to judge the protesters on either side of the line by their individual actions. And all I can see, since I'm not at the protest, is what I'm seeing via social media. And thank God, goodness for social media. Otherwise, I wouldn't see but a mere fraction of what's going on.
Right, and we would definitely see a skewed version because we would only see what's filtered by the agenda-based media, and typically that is, you know, one story that's sent out to all the different venues or whatever. So we get a really, you know, myopic point of view of it. So I like the idea too of seeing it through social media, because now you're seeing it through organically through phones from any number of directions. Let's not forget though that, you know, just because it's coming from a bunch of various independent sources doesn't mean that some of those sources can't have agendas and can't be situation or, you know, positioned with intent and can't even be set up. You know,
sure, they're not going to take pictures of the people just standing on the sidelines holding signs, because that's not exciting. That's not newsworthy. They're going to find the guys that are hitting people or macing them or whatever, and those are the ones you're going to see pictures of.
I wish I could find it quickly, but there is a interesting like two sides of the coin picture that was up on Facebook or Instagram years ago, and it was a bunch of people that were posing for a photo at an event, and I think it was a gun buyback. And from the rear, when someone took a photo of the same group of people at the same moment from the rear looking towards the line, it really did look like an old Civil War battle line with a bunch of people standing in back with weapons shouldered, and a bunch of people kneeling over the, you know, with their rifles heading over the people who are in front, also kneeling. So it looked like three layers of infantry aiming at these people who are in line with the gun buyback. And that was the one view. And if you looked at it from the other point of view, from the parking lot looking out towards these people, they were just all posing around their sign with maybe guns that they had purchased at the gun buyback or something, just kind of holding them in the air like, look what I got. So, you know, that was the same photo of the same group of people at the same moment in time, but from two different perspectives. It had ominous intent, you know, look, and then just a simple celebratory type of look. So it is possible for any of these things to be, you know, something to be intent to be masked or influenced or something. But in general, if you get 6 cell phones looking at something, you can easily tell the one that's engineered and the ones that are organic or whatever. And the more people we have contributing to that, you know, with their own cell phones and their own YouTube channels and their own blogs and their own podcasts, then, you know, the more of that we see. But anyway, we're talking about Antifa and arming up, and I guess one of the things Danos, it sounds like, concerned about is when they're violent without guns. Is that a reason? Is that a reason they don't bring guns? Because now they're free to throw a rock or something, and not, you know, it wasn't felonious rock throwing. Now it's just negligent rock throwing because they didn't have a gun in their pocket. Like, are they intentionally not bringing guns so that they can be looked at as unarmed?
Well, and I see that as one of the advantages, because, you know, once you commit a crime and you're armed, you have a chance to bring a whole load of world of hurt onto those people. And I think that's another good reason. If they want to carry weapons around, that's fine. You know, in the college campus, freaking cops stood down. They went and stayed inside the building, and they didn't want to have anything to do with what was going on outside. That ain't going to happen if people are walking around with guns. They are just not going to be able to get away with that.
Well, and that's what I suggest too. And that's where I'd like to see anybody who's at a protest to be armed, because then you're not going to see somebody throw a rock at anybody. You're not going to see them throw a rock at a bunch of, you know, people from any segment of society that might be standing for any kind of, you know, awareness type of thing.
Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. And I'm not trying to yank you. I'm just trying to get an understanding of where you're coming from. Is there any, and if there is, what is it? Political belief or ideology, or just belief system in general, that you feel someone should forfeit their Second Amendment rights?
Nope,
And,
not one.
I'll just throw. Go ahead.
Nope, not one.
Yeah, I don't struggle.
You should not have to forfeit your rights. Stan Ulick made an interesting comment. He said the not all argument is stale. If you join a group by choice that is about violence and you support that violence, I disagree. I'm a member of the NRA. I do not agree with everything the NRA says and does. There are a couple of core values they have that I do believe in, and I believe they're more often a good voice than not a good voice. But you know, I wouldn't say that just because I belong to the NRA, you can say that I have to subscribe to everything they believe in. And I don't know enough about, to be honest with you, I don't know enough about Antifa's core beliefs to understand, you know, whether or not, you know, violence is a like a part of their creed or not. I know activism is a part of their creed, but I don't know if violence necessarily is. But the bottom line is, you can't take a person's rights away because of the opinions they have. You can only take their rights away because of the actions they take.
So if they have the opinion, and it's going to sound crazy, that they want to kill or do harm to the President of the United States, that's okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't know. Now you're splitting all kinds of hairs. You're talking.
Do they actually plan to do it? Well, that's different. That's an active event.
When an absolute is not possible.
No, but there's no club that exists for the assassination of the president, that if you become a member of it, you're in some gray area as to whether or not you should have your rights removed. I imagine if someone were to create such an organization, they'd be under the watch of the Secret Service, if not more, and their rights would be removed. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that that's a good example, I guess. That,
I mean, do we all believe, and maybe we don't, that people who do not have good mental health should maybe not have a firearm?
well, now you're going to suggest thought crime ahead of time, and somehow by becoming a member of a group, you've forfeited your mental stability.
But we have a mechanism for that. And if you are adjudicated as incompetent, then you lose your right.
And that's the example I was working towards.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's not membership in a group. You don't sign up for Nuts R Us and say, well, because I'm a member of Nuts R Us, take my guns away.
Well,
totally different thing. That's a hell of a stretch.
We're talking about Antifa, but since I don't know any of us are experts on Antifa, let's go with fictitious group called We Want to Be Violent All the Time. And if someone joins the group We Want to Be Violent All the Time, should their Second Amendment rights be taken away? Is that an easier way, like a more dramatic way, or a more... So I think that the same way there's like Dracula groups, right? For like people that consider themselves Draculas or something, like until they act on it, aren't they just a member of a group? I wouldn't want a kid who's, who's 13 years old and trying to figure out what they want to do, and they want to join PETA or something. I don't want their rights to be removed because that's a violent group, and anybody who's a member of the group, I don't want, that seems like very Nazi-ish, very USSR. We're watching you, and if you go over, if you have these ideas, no longer you have rights, comrade.
Yeah, if you can plug in the name of group you like and it's okay, and group you like it don't like and it's not okay, then I got a problem. Because it all comes down to, well, I don't agree with what they say, so I don't want them to have weapons. And it's like,
well, we already select members of society that it's not okay. We already do that. But
that is based on your actions that got you committed or got you adjudicated. Not just because of your belief system or your membership in a particular group.
Oh, you mean like, well, there's more in question 11 than just that.
Question 11?
Yes, that's on the 4473.
Yeah. Which one's question 11?
Question 11 is the one that goes through things like, are you addicted to drugs? Are you a felon? Are you
the 10 things.
A citizen of the United States? Have you advocated your citizenry? All those various things. Which I don't have them all memorized.
Yeah, those are all basically legal status for the most part.
And they're all based on actions you have taken.
Correct.
Well, there's a question in there about whether I'm Hispanic or not, which is not a legal status.
That is a sensitive question that is illegal as shit. It's
not a qualifying question.
It's not a qualifying question, exactly. That's just a question that you have to answer, although you can't answer it incorrectly. unless you decide to answer it alternatively, one and the other. And then I would imagine every other time you filled it in, if you had to go to court, they would say, which one are you, yes or no, or whatever, or white or Hispanic, or whatever the hell it says. And then you'd have to say one or the other in front of a judge. And then every other one you filled in incorrectly would be a 10-year, $10,000 fine because you lied on a federal form. I don't know how seriously they take it, but I think they could take it to that extreme. Anyhow, that's going off topic. We're talking about Antifa arming up, and I think we've touched on some interesting stuff about thought crimes and whether or not by being associated with a group, if your legal status should be affected. Again, how would we monitor moms against, moms that want attention if we don't join Moms Want Attention? How do we know what these groups are doing if people don't join them? How do you say, oh, I found out what it was and I left? When does your rights get applied again? See a lot of potential issues going down that road, where I guess my concern or my question is the other way is, where's the actual instances of violence with firearms from the, I guess, Antifa or fill in the blank questionable organization? Even like the Black Panthers and stuff in 61 or whatever it was, 68, whenever they marched into, or when was the riots, the LA riot, or the Watts riots? That wasn't violence with the people with the firearms. That was overreaction by the police, wasn't it?
I remember the pictures, but I don't remember the details. But I mean, some of those questions are meant to be, or maybe not meant to be, but preventative in nature to prevent crime. Now, they may not prevent crime, and I understand that perspective. But that is the intent of some of those questions, to try to prevent people from having guns that shouldn't have guns.
But and I agree with that, but that is based on the people's actions, not on not on just a belief system.
And the question is joining a group, which is an action that promotes violence, whether it's the new Nazi party or some variation thereof.
Yeah, give them guns too. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, cross that line, I guess, is my question. And I don't know much about the Antifa, and I really didn't want it to be about the Antifa. I was just using that as a example. It could
Sure.
be the new Nazi party of the new millennia.
Yeah, let them have all the guns they want. I don't care.
Or the one that comes next.
The ones that aren't felons.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
swear it or whatever, hey, if they want guns, let them have guns. As soon as they shoot somebody, that's it. They're a felon. They're in jail or shot or whatever.
I think that again, when we look at actual history, I mean, was Waco potentially one of those where it actually came to a head? I mean, it's just once every so often. It's not like, with the amount of people we have and the amount of guns we have and the amount of access we have and the amount of ease of creating a new hate group or whatever, I just, the lack of them gives me confidence with my position that let everybody, be free to do what they want. I think it's only going to bring a responsibility to the individual and, and a potential to change more of their opinions once they arm up, quote unquote, thinking that they're somehow gaining some level of, some video game level or whatever. Once they figure out it's nothing more than just another burden, another responsibility that they've got, maybe it'll calm them down a little bit, and they'll move on with their lives and get more worried about their career and less worried about their injustices that they see out there or whatever. All right, well, people were asking, what about moms arming up? Clay was asking, good idea, bad idea, moms arming up. I'm assuming you mean moms demand attention. And I think that would be a good idea too, honestly. But I think we can save that for another day. That was our good idea, bad idea segment. Hopefully it was interesting for people. I think that we got a lot of response from it. I don't know if we satisfied anybody with our debate. I don't think anybody changed their minds. I don't think. I'll take that as a no. We'll keep moving. So we're gonna ditch the hashtag showdown because Maggie's not here. Hopefully he'll be back at some point. We'll do that. And we were gonna do some Norinco gun, but Bob ain't here, so we're gonna switch it to the Calibr of the day. And let's talk about the 338 Lapua Magnum. Since we're on episode 333, I think that is appropriate. But I don't know much about it. Do you guys know anything about it?
Isn't that the one that Jethro shoots on NCIS when he was a sniper?
Oh, I don't know what that is. Is that a TV show?
Yeah. Mark Harmon.
Oh. Well, I know it's a very popular round for long-range accuracy. Lapua is a company in somewhere, Sweden, Norrland, Finland. No, this is going to be the most boring segment ever since nobody knows nothing about it. We're dedicated to 338 Lapua Magnum. There you go. There's a Wikipedia article. Use the new media and link it yourself or read about it yourself. Here's some pictures of it. It's pretty big.
How much bigger than a 308 is that? You have any comparison on bullet diameters?
Here's the 338, and here's the 308.
What's their bullet diameter? 308's like 311, right?
308? I don't know. It's 7.62 by 51, though. You can see my screen. It's on the left here. Is the 3.
But I think a 308 and a 7.62 are all roughly the same size, and I think it's the average bullet diameter is 0.311.
Okay.
I was just wondering if the 338's a lot bigger or is it similarly sized?
I thought it was just mostly longer. Or
yeah, Tony, I know they're all 30 cal. I'm talking about the actual size of the projectile.
Well, when you look at this 338 something NM, you can see that it's got a smaller case. That projectile looks pretty long. So if that's the same projectile in here, it's pretty big with projectile.
Yeah.
Nothing about it in there. Anyway, so yeah, 338 Lapua. We don't know much about it, but it's episode 338.
Yeah.
There you go.
Long distance. Good ballistic coefficient.
It was designed in 1989, so fairly recent. Was it supposed to compete with the 50?
No, I think they were searching for the ultimate sniper round. They needed something with a little more oomph when it got there that was easier to carry in a cruise service and didn't, the rounds didn't weigh 900 pounds like they do on a 50. It
says in addition to its military use, it was increasingly used by hunters because it can shoot everything up to a big elephant. So now you can shoot elephants with it. I guess it's legal to shoot elephants with it in Africa. I guess that's the issue.
Assuming you have a legal elephant to shoot.
And it's enough jewels in it.
There goes enough sponsors.
Yeah, exactly.
So much for the Elephant League.
I have a lead on an ivory sponsor, though. Carved ivory. It's all illegal, highly illegal, but lots of profit.
That sounds good.
Next week's show, carved ivory. So, quote unquote, walrus. Anyway, I don't know if that's any better, actually. So that was our Calibr of the day. Bob will come back sometime with that gun of the day. We could talk about. I'm going to do history real quick because I think that.
Uh-oh.
Is that even happening still?
Look out! Bob's on attack. He's coming in for another run. That's right. It's time for the tactical pop quiz of the day. I know y'all can't stand it, but it's here anyway.
I don't know if anybody heard that.
Yeah, I heard it.
Good. G-Webs, are you available to assist? And
Yep.
have you seen the answer?
Yep.
All right. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, get ready. Put your cursor down in the text box. Limber up your fingers. I will read the question twice. So here goes. The Colt pocket revolver in 31 caliber model 1847 had what nickname? The Colt pocket revolver in 31 caliber model 1847 had what nickname?
No answers yet. No answers. They didn't hear you. Oh, was there an answer from Tony?
Artisan Tony has it, I think, on YouTube.
Yep. So it's Artisan Tony on the YouTube side gets it.
Yes, Baby Dragoon is the answer we're looking for. So thanks, Artisan Tony, for coming up with that. You are the tactical hot shot for today. You know what to do, but just in case, head on over to Daily. I almost said Daily Gun Channels again. I got to stop myself from doing that. I need treatment. I need an intervention. DailyGunShow.com/pop quiz. Fill out the form so we can keep track of winners and do the tallies at some point in a future date. But congratulations, you are today's hot shot for today. And since Bob isn't here today, I felt the need to do that.
Right on. Proving that the YouTube side can get it even with that wicked lag.
Who submitted the question?
I don't know. Somebody.
Oh, just curious.
I don't know. It's been there for a while.
Oh, snap. You saying it's Tony? You have to do some investigative work.
No, I don't think it was Tony's. I was just wondering.
No.
You usually announce who submitted the question, that's all.
And that's a good question. It is not on the Old West playing cards. I don't even know what that gun is. So, what is it?
Baby Dragoon,
No, but it's
also known as the model 1847 Colt pocket revolver.
Oh, maybe I do actually. I have to go look. Anyhow, so it's a good question. I do have a Colt pocket revolver, and I believe it's 31 caliber. I didn't know it was called a Baby Dragoon. Maybe I should actually put that on the card if it is though. So why don't we do whatever's next? And I'm gonna go grab the cards. So the movie of the day.
All right, we got Dogs of War.
So have you seen this one?
I got to check it out because I can't remember if I have or not. Let me.
So this is, every day we try to talk about a movie that has something to do with guns, something you might not have seen in a while, or something you haven't seen yet. But this is a fairly new movie, so this isn't something from the old days or nothing. This is like a year or two old, maybe. And it's this one big fat comedian. It's from when?
It's from 1980. Dogs
Oh, maybe
of War.
there's two of them. Maybe there's two of them. What's the
mercenary James Shannon is on a reconnaissance job to the African nation of Zengro. Is tortured and deported. He returns to lead a coup.
Oh, okay, good. I was thinking of this other movie that sucks, that's newer. So, yeah, this is have you seen this one?
No, I haven't seen it.
I don't think I've seen the newer one.
Oh, the newer one's garbage, and it must be named something else. So, this one, though, is from the 80s, so it's pretty good. And what does it say? They're on a reconnaissance job to help a nation, and they lead a coup. I don't remember all that, but yeah, they arm up for a while, and then they run around shooting stuff for most of the movie. It's pretty good. 1980s, so all the stuff is like back when what is it? Desert woodland camo was like just being cool. I think it was just the beginning of all that, all the old 80s guns and stuff. It's kind of cool.
Yep. Paste. Go. What's wrong?
All right, well, I guess we don't have anything else to say about it. I'm going to give it a thumb up. I saw it semi recently because I knew we had it coming up, but I've already forgotten about it. So I think it was okay, but I can't be sure, so I'm giving it one thumb.
It's got
If
Christopher
it was
Walken in it
19
before he started talking weird.
If it was 1980, I was a senior in high school, and I was far too busy with other things to be checking out a movie, unless the girl wanted to see it, and I don't think that's a chick flick.
More hound dog than war dog. Is that what we're saying here?
Pretty much.
Hey everybody, sorry I'm so late. We just got the internet back here on the phone, so.
Oh, there's Bob. That's all right. We already replaced you with Psycho Kid.
I saw that. Dang it. Just anybody with a beard, right?
So we were
Right.
just getting done talking about Dogs of War. Did you see that movie? Do you want to add anything on it?
Other than it was a really good movie. Yeah, I quite liked it.
Hold on. So thumbs up.
Oh, definitely, yeah. 2 thumbs up.
All right. So with that though, I was gonna hit the gun history or the day in history because I thought there was something going on again today. Oh, you know what it is? Also, it's the summer solstice. It's the longest day of the damn year. Everything will start getting cooler from here on out, right?
First day of summer here. It's what we consider the first day of summer.
Yep, us too.
Looking through the history, it says in 1915, Germany used poison gas for the first time in warfare at Argonne Forest.
Argonne, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
that
big-
was that famous chemist that figured that out. The one that figured out how to do the nitrogen and peanut butter and all that crap.
Yep.
Today in 1945, Japanese forces on Okinawa surrendered to American troops.
It was monumental getting the Japanese to surrender ever.
That's where you get all those scratched up Arasakas.
Today in 1982, Hinckley Jr. was found not guilty by reason of insanity for the attempted assassination of Reagan.
Yeah, that's the one where he used explosive bullets, right? But he used a gun with a barrel that was way too short to accelerate them.
I used 22 rimfire explosive bullets. They never worked. I
Right.
used them in rifles on Gophers. They never worked.
But he used them in a pocket pistol, and there's no way they were going to get fast enough.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that part of it.
Oh, you guys don't know that?
Oh.
Yeah, I was alive then.
Yeah, me too. I remember that.
Oh, I was alive, but I was a youngin.
That's what made it particularly heinous was when they said, "Oh, he tried to use explosive bullets to kill the president."
Turned out they were 22 rimfire out of some kind of cheap revolver.
Yeah, Saturday Night Special.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it hit that one guy in the head. He's still alive.
Is that Brady?
Yeah, Brady got hit in the head.
Oh, that's where the Brady bill comes from. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a real bad day for us gun guys.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, so all right. Well, I'll quit reading that. Trying to read and talk at the same time. So I guess with that, we'll close out the history segment, and if I can get the only pop-ups to go away. Yeah, they're talking about the Brady bill over there, and
We do the gun of the day because I really wanted to do that gun of the day because I think it's really cool. It's actually I want to buy.
All done. Sorry, Bob.
yeah, we today's episode 338, so we made it
Oh.
the of the day, but
Okay.
we do have time, so
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about your Canadian gun here.
Well, I just, it's I saw this and it's kind of been flying under the radar for me, but I saw this, it's been out for a bit. But it's the Norinco. No, wait a minute. That's not today. Is today Wednesday?
No, it's Thursday.
Norinco 97.
I'm just kidding.
Right. So it's Norinco 90. Yeah, that's the Chinese bullpup. So it's 5.56 or 2.23. it's your usual bullpup. It's got a crappy trigger, but it's really space age looking. It, like I say, the big advantage in Canada is if it's a non-restricted rifle that uses AR-15 magazines, it means you can use the 10-round pistol mags in it because they're marked pistol mag. So it's legal to use a 10-round mag in a rifle if it's marked pistol mag. Fucking gun laws. But so it gives you, gives you 10 rounds, which is like way twice as good as 5. And it's 223, so it's a plinker. But it's so short. Like, it's a short little rifle. It's, like I say, really space age looking. You can get accessories for it out in the wazoo up here. And I just think it's a really cool little rifle. And I mean, it's cheap too, because under $1,000, I think, which is for a bullpup, is cheap.
Oh yeah, under $1,000 for a Chinese bullpup. Yeah, great.
But it works, right? Other than the crappy trigger, the thing about the Chinese guns is they all work really well. I mean, their M14 clone, it's not actually a clone because they actually bought the machinery to manufacture the M14 from the American government, from Springfield, I guess. And they're using the same machinery. They're just making M14s. Their quality control is a little bit lower, but as far as functioning goes, that never bothers anything. It's the way it looks, right? Might have a little more rough edges. So, I mean, this thing's the same way, right? Other than it's kind of a unique design. But, really cool little bullpup for a reasonable price that you can use with a 10-round pistol mag. So, I think it's really neat. And non-restricted. So, it's just like owning any other rifle. Don't have to register it. You get it in the mail.
All right. So another in Bob's week of rubbing it in, ones that we can't get that he can get from China. They like so much, except he doesn't own any of them.
Yeah. Well, I own the M14 for a while, but not the
39 AK mag.
I know. That's the one I want.
No, I wish we could have that too, because those look pretty cool. This one does not look pretty cool. It's stupid looking, but I guess it's a neat gun if you wanted to buy it. That needs to be like a $250 gun. Then I could understand it more.
Yeah, remember, we can get Tavors up here, but they're stupid expensive.
Well, Tavor should be like $250 too. But anyway, so interesting gun of the day. Bob keeping up with his pace of interesting guns. I think with that, though, we will wrap up today's show and start talking about what else is going to be on today. It's Wednesday, so in about an hour or so, Matt will be on with his gun and politics chat, usually on Wednesdays. Then tomorrow, more than likely, we'll see Jimmy James or Sean doing an early chat over on gun channels. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, for episode number 339. And tomorrow we'll be talking about CCW, online CCW classes. It's interesting, so that we talked about that already, but I guess we'll talk more about that. Gun stuff, novelty guns, and training. Potentially, if Smeggy's here, we'll move the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown to tomorrow. So if you've been using Instagram and using the hashtag Daily Gun Show, we'll be looking at those pictures and coming up with a winner. Otherwise, we got all our normal stuff for our daily stuff, and we will see you same time, same channel. Thanks, Cycle Camp, for jumping in. Appreciate giving us some input on these topics today.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for jumping in. Wished I had more of a chance to talk with you, but yeah, we'll get together. So we end the show on a quote every day. Let's see. This one is by David Loffer. And before that, though, I'd like to remind everybody, please share, please like, please subscribe, help spread the word on, a kind of a neat gun show that's by the people for the people. So this is our quote today.
Interrupt you for a second. Hold on, let me interrupt you.
Okay.
I'm going to jump over to the Kickstarter. I forgot to tell people there's only 5 days left on it, so I want to encourage everybody, if you're not already participating in it, to grab a deck, or if you've already are participating, to help share it. In the last couple of days, it's always good to see the the numbers start rising, that'll encourage other people to jump in on it. So that jump down to the update I posted, I think earlier yesterday, I guess, with a picture of the patches. If no one saw them, there's going to be a patch included with each perk, and it's going to be a big giant walker. So a PVC patch with a Velcro back. It's in like a 3-dimensional. You can kind of see it here where it's all going to look kind of like 3-dimensional. Pretty cool. I'm impressed with the quality they did on these. So those will be going out, no extra cost with all the decks. So no matter if you get one or a bunch, you'll get patches with it. And again, it's the last couple of days, so the more people can share it, I really do appreciate it. That's where we start to see everybody jumping in at the last minute. And all of this is now working towards the overall goal of basically getting on the road. So if we can raise some more funds, not only, don't just make the decks go down in price, it'll be a little extra money, and we'll be able to deliver them up to the Cody Museum, who's buying some. We can deliver them to, or we can go over to Texas and watch the decks get printed, and be kind of a cool to include a road trip. So obviously, the more people we can get interested in it, it's just $15 to jump on board. If we can see another couple of hundred people jump on it, we could be talking about an adventure along with everything. So you get the stickers will be made by Flippy. I'm going to mute you up as you're echoing. The stickers that we're making will look just like the revolver patch here, but they'll be made. Maybe it's Bill. Somebody mute because there's a bunch of echo. The stickers will look just like the patch here, and they'll be made in Texas by Flippy. Thanks. So those will be included as well with no extra price or no extra cost. And again, please encourage everybody to share it on whatever platform, Instagram, Facebook for sure, gun channels, out on the YouTube. All of that will help. Each deck will help get us further towards getting out on the road. Okay, Bob, thanks for letting me interrupt you there.
Not a problem, man. Good info on. I'm glad the Kickstarter is going so well. Let's see here where we're. Oh yeah, David W. Loeffner. The Constitution shall never be construed to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms. And that is a very important part of your Constitution, and that is one of the things that the rest of the world looks up to, is that you have this wonderful Constitution, and that protects people's rights to defend themselves from one and speak their mind. You just had another great ruling come down from the Supreme Court about speech and free speech, and so hopefully that'll stop all this whining from the antifa and all these like whiny little babies. And on that, I'll just end it and say thanks very much. See y'all tomorrow.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year. Practice at least once a month and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.